All right, it is now my pleasure to introduce the one and only Matt Esler.
Home stretch, folks. How's everybody doing? Adam, those difference maker videos that you put together, they really are. It's just unbelievable. As I said last night, they are the best part of us, folks, and I'm so proud to just be a small part of it. Before I jump in, one other thing. A couple people have chimed in on how many summits they've been at. This is number 8 for me. And I don't want to say it's the best one ever because it might sound disingenuous, although it might be about as good as they've been. But I will tell you that I'm leaving here with as many notes as I've ever taken. And I just want to thank the Cottage Grove team and Jeannie and all the presenters for giving us 3 days of compelling, actionable information to take home to our teams. Just thank you so much for that. At the core of purpose-driven performance is intentionality. As a network, we've long known that everything we do requires that intentionality. The purifying focus that we brought to our marketing and our sales processes, and more recently to how we deliver a superior customer experience, are not left to chance. We leave no stone unturned in our quest for excellence, and we continually raise the bar on ourselves. Developing our teammates into our future leaders should be no different. Let me ask you, have we devoted that same focus and intentionality to finding a path to personal and professional advancement for our teammates? Have we used the same creativity that we have in the rest of our business to finding exciting and stimulating futures for our teammates? In an annual survey of CEOs, both global and American, top 3 on a list of concerns annually is the attraction and retention of quality skilled talent. Last November, the Esler Companies senior managers and GMs gathered for an offsite planning meeting in Nashville. A significant chunk of our agenda was spent on how we would identify our high potentials and then turn them into our future leaders. Keep in mind when I say future leaders, that doesn't necessarily mean that journey ends with manager next to their name. We had looked inward and realized that on far too many of our teams, we were key man dependent. Worse yet, we realized that we risked losing some of our quality teammates if we couldn't show them a challenging and rewarding future. We look at that challenge as the next great frontier in our continued quest to build a culture that our teammates don't just survive in, but they truly thrive in. A few weeks later, I was at a retail advisory council meeting and it struck me, well, we're just a microcosm of the network at large. The same way we at Esler need to plan for the next 10 years, well, so should we all as a network. Many of our leaders have been at this for a minute or two, and while there's still plenty of tread on that tire, there's an opportunity to fuel the next wave of innovation and growth by expanding that circle and seeding it with those future leaders. Up north in our neck of the wood, Bill Belichick has made popular the next man up philosophy. And spare the eye roll, people. Love them or hate them, they get the best out of their people. It's a philosophy he adopted from the military and nicely exemplified by Lieutenant General Hal Moore. In his 1992 book, We Were Soldiers Once and Young, General Moore talks about how when tasked with preparing an inexperienced 7th Cavalry for combat in Vietnam, he trained all of his soldiers 2 levels up. That meant that each soldier was required to learn the roles, duties, skill set of somebody 2 levels of leadership above them. He instilled a culture of learning and mentoring that he knew was essential for the casualties they were sure to face. And while a difficult reality to face, he knew it was far better than denying it and leaving them ill-prepared for what lay ahead. For us mere mortals, the challenge is to look inward at our organizations and our teams, identify who we think our future leaders are, and then develop them. Maybe by project-based opportunities, maybe by looking at our business through a different lens and coming up with different roles, maybe by cross-training in different functionalities, or maybe just by instilling that same culture of learning and mentor relationships that served General Moore so well. To have a culture that nurtures and promotes that kind of development takes that same intentionality. It's a safe bet that if somebody named Esler is on stage, you're going to hear some talk of culture. It is still that at our core that we feel is our greatest competitive advantage, and we don't leave that to chance either. Make no mistake, though, that culture of caring that we've so carefully nurtured is also a culture of performance. The gentleman I'm about to introduce to you is going to speak to how he has fostered exactly that in the largest office in the RbA network. John Andersen came to us 4 years ago. His most recent role was as a controller at an interior door manufacturer, True Styles. We were initially drawn to John because of his extra large size brain, and we needed every bit of that on our finance team. What we didn't know was that brain was accompanied by an extra large size heart and a pretty pure soul, and as he's progressed from the finance team through operations to his current role as general manager, he's applied all three of those liberally. Speaking of developing teammates, he saw as an opportunity earlier in the year in Colorado, and he issued a challenge, made an offer, that we would sponsor anybody that wanted to go through the Lean Six Sigma training. We'd pay for it, make available little chunks of their schedule. To date, we have got 3 certified black belts and a handful of green belts in the Colorado office. Kristen Gardner issued a similar challenge in Philadelphia, and we just had our first service tech get black belt certification. One Spencer File, you might recognize the name. So just one way that we can develop our teammates. There are many more. I give to you one of the most capable gentlemen I have ever had the pleasure of working with, Mr. John Andersen.